Welcome back to another episode of How It Works. This is episode 2 of an earlier of weatherization. To continue from the previous episode, we were talking about how to get the water out of the system, and we talked about how to put antifreeze in and how to circulate it through the system in the manifold. What we're going to do now is once antifreeze is circulated throughout the entire system, we have a secondary protocol that we use to make sure that there will be residual water in the lower points of the hoses throughout the vehicle, and there may be some water left in there. So just in case that is too diluted and there's any slushiness going on, we want all the valves opened. You want to make sure you open all the valves so everything will equally distribute. Even the transfer pump. And what that's going to do is equalize all the antifreeze throughout the lines. Now these are the only ones you don't want to open because they're at the bottom of the manifolds, and if you open these, as you'll see when I do, the pink antifreeze will come out. You don't want to let it all out. You want to keep it in there. So those are the 3 valves that you want to keep closed. Again, on the filter system over here, you want to make sure that's open. And I showed you that in the earlier episode, how you can take that off the cap in the filter and drain out any excess water that's there. Then you do the antifreeze, and that will fill up with antifreeze. So if you take the filter out right now, you'd have that cone would be filled with antifreeze. Now there's another aspect of the hand wash tank that I'm going to go through with you. In the earlier episode, we talked about how to take all the tanks with using the motor to put all of the water into the 400 gallon and then drain it out the side. The hand wash tank, just as a precautionary, prior to emptying this into the 400, you want to take your hand wash, open up your valve. See how the valve is opened? It's already drained. This valve is opened and it's closed. That's closed, that's open. So any residual water in here will go into your tank, and then you flush your tank into your 300. These hoses here come from the transfer pump, the electric transfer pump, which we'll see in a moment on the other side. This hose has a tendency of filling up with water down here in the end. What I'd recommend is opening the valve. This is open, this is closed. Opening this valve, taking the whole thing up and just bringing it out to the side and drain out any excess water that could be in the line. And as you see, there's a little bit still coming out. And what I would do is just leave it right here on the floor with the valve open, just to make sure it flows properly. So this is all there is in this part of the vehicle for weatherization. There's nothing really with the engine that you have to do. That takes care of itself. It's a diesel engine. It has glow plugs. So the engine really you have nothing to do with. The gearbox that connects the pump, you really don't need to do anything with that in itself. And this is your pump that actually has all the antifreeze, as you can see through the hose, that is inside the pump, protecting the diaphragm and all the parts. Now what we do is we want to go to the side and show you the transfer pump and some other weatherizations there. Now these valves here also mentioned, this is where we can store it, but I would recommend taking it off that, opening this valve and keeping them hanging just in case, and I'd actually put it through, take this out, lift this up, and pull in your reel and just leave it dangling like this. So any residual water in that hose, if there is any, well, if it does expand, it will come out. So make sure this valve is open, this valve is open, and with these as well.